Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the JP Football Podcast. I'm your host, of course, Josh. And, we've got, as you can tell by the title, this video strictly is basically about how I became an Evertonian. How did I become an Everton fan? Now, there is a little bit of Everton news going on at the moment, but I'm going to do that in the next video because, again, this one is solely based on the title, How I Became an Evertonian, an Everton fan. And by the way, this video, the reason why I'm doing this video is because one of my subscribers left in the comments below in one of my previous videos. Shout out to her, Anna T or Anna T. I hope I'm saying right. Anna T, however you say it. She basically put in the comments and asked, oh, you should make a video on how you became an Evertonian. Those are always interesting. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So that's what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. It could be anything. All you got to do is leave a like, subscribe to the channel. Do that if you haven't already. It only takes a second, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. It doesn't just have to be talk about this team or this player or this certain club or what's going on here. It could also be stuff like, well, how did you become an Evertonian? Or, oh, do you do this and that? It could be mostly anything football related, and this one is absolutely football related. So that's why I'm making this video, and this is a fun story, and I love to share it, and I love telling people this story because, you lot are probably wondering, you live in the States, you live in America, how do you support a team that's in a different country, well, completely a different continent as well? Well, you're about to find out today why. So here's the thing, right? I was not a big fan of football growing up, okay? I actually hated it. I despised it. I was one of those people who were like, oh, it's so boring. What do you get out of this? There's barely any goals scored. Every stereotypical thing that, a person could dislike about football, I pretty much disliked. Wasn't into it at all. I couldn't. And it's funny because I played football when I was younger, but, I wasn't too into it. I wasn't that good either. I just wasn't. So, when I played as a little kid, I wasn't the biggest fan of it. And then I just hated it as a sport, wasn't into it at all. But that kind of changed, obviously. I have, a completely different view on it now. Now that I'm grown up, I realized that, as a kid, not liking it was just stupid and, dumb. Like, I'm sorry, but football is the world's most beautiful game. It is the world's most beautiful sport, honestly, and it gets all the emotions out of me. I couldn't ask for anything better. But so Team USA, who I support nationally, back in the 2010 World Cup, I still wasn't that into football, still wasn't. But, Landon Donovan had his famous goal against, Algeria. And then I watched USA play Ghana, which was an entertaining match. Looking back on it, but as a kid, I was mostly kind of bored, and I was really frustrated the US lost, and I didn't really care much. But however, the very next World Cup, the 2014 World Cup in Brazil, that's when everything took a turn for me. Everything took a turn for me. Like my views on football, like literally my views on football, the way I felt about it, everything turned because it was the summer 2014, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest, there weren't really any other major big things going on in the sporting world. Like American football was in the off season, basketball was done. I mean, baseball was around, but it's baseball. That's kind of more boring than football to some people. So there was baseball. It was the biggest thing going on at the time. And so I thought to myself, I was like, well, you know what? I don't think I've given football a proper chance. I don't think I've actually given it a chance to dawn on me, see what it's all about per se. And again, it's the biggest sporting event of the summer. It's in Brazil, for Christ's sake. You know what? Let's give it a chance. Let's give it a chance. And let me tell you, I gave it a chance and I absolutely fell in love with it. I really did. I absolutely fell in love with football, everything. Watching Brazil play, Neymar, like this, like I'm learning about all these stuff, Rooney. And the funny thing is, like, I had heard about these footballing stars before, even though I wasn't a fan, but I just, I never, but when I saw them play, Neymar, Rooney, Suarez, Messi, Ronaldo, all of them, just all the world's biggest stars. James Rodriguez at the time, right? It was amazing. It was incredible. And I cheered my heart out for Team USA, Clint Dempsey scoring 32 seconds against Ghana for all people, us drawing Portugal 2-2 and Ronaldo, assisting in like the 96-minute crazy stuff, us losing to Germany to Thomas Muller's strike. But, we moved on anyway because Portugal and Ghana tied at the end, and we moved on to the round of the 16 in the 2014 World Cup. I loved it. I loved every second of it, every minute of it. And I think by far my favorite player on that team was Tim Howard, the goalkeeper. Okay. Tim Howard is the main reason, the sole reason, the core reason why I'm an Everton fan today, why I'm an Evertonian. It's Tim Howard. It's all Tim Howard, because Tim Howard was honestly my biggest footballing inspiration. He's the reason that after the World Cup, I became a goalkeeper. I started doing goalkeeping. I actually tried out for my middle school team, not have been playing football for years at that point, while everyone else had been playing since they were, 5. And I ended up making that team. All right. Even though I didn't play in years. So, I made it as a goalkeeper, obviously Tim Howard. But yeah, he's the main reason why. He's my inspiration. I mean, watching him play and making the saves he was making, especially against Belgium. Everyone talks about the Belgium game, and rightly so, even though we lost 2-1. Tim Howard made 15 saves, World Cup record. That is absolutely ridiculous. And then the hype when Tim Howard came home, Secretary of State or Defense or whatever, he became more of a legend and more of an icon than he already was. And I said to myself, like that day when he came back to America, I said to myself, I thought to myself, Tim Howard, you're like my all-time favorite footballer. You're an inspiration to me. You're the reason why I got back into actually playing, and you're a reason why I fell in love with the sport even more. I'm going to support whatever team Tim Howard plays. So that's what I said to myself. I'm going to support whatever team Tim Howard plays for. I don't care what league, what division. I don't care. I'm supporting 100%. And, it was Everton. Just so happened to be Everton. I think one of the first times I like really looked into an Everton game and an Everton score, it was bad. It was really bad. It was the game we lost 6-3 to Chelsea. So, I mean, not the best start, right? But I would learn as an Evertonian. There would be a lot more heartbreak along the way. So that's that. But yeah, I started really getting into seeing Everton, watching them, because of Tim Howard, like the middle-ish of the 2014-15 season, right? So we had just come back off of the amazing 2013-14 season, which I failed to witness, unfortunately, but obviously I looked at highlights, I looked into the history of it. And, again, I became an Everton fan mainly around the middle of the 2014-15 season round. That's when I started to get like more into it. I started learning about Europa League, what we were doing, the Premier League, how the Premier League works, how football just works in general. I started learning. And again, Tim Howard was, my favorite player at Everton, and he continued to be until he left the football club. That's when I started learning about Everton players like Lukaku, who's, the best Everton forward I've ever seen. I was a really big Kevin Morales fan, loved him. Leon Osman was pretty cool as well. I loved Leighton Baines, like just all these play, I fell in love with Everton. I fell in love with Everton because of Tim Howard. And again, I wouldn't be an Evertonian or an Everton fan today here if it weren't for Tim Howard and the influence he's had on me football wise and Everton wise. So, that's that. And, there's a saying at Everton, if you don't know it, I know the Evertonians watching this already know, but the saying goes, once Everton has touched you, nothing will be the same. And that's absolutely true. It's absolutely right. I fell in love with Everton. I started to support Everton because of Tim Howard. But honestly, at the end of the 2014-15 season and then leading on to the 2015-16 season, I think after that season, was when I officially fell in love with Everton for being Everton. But again, I have all thanks to Tim Howard. Tim Howard, I have all thanks to you for becoming an Evertonian in the first place. So, I thank him for that. Thank you for that. Because it's been quite a wild roller coaster ride. It really has. And this club, I've learned its history quite a bit. I've learned a lot of the disappointments, some good moments in there, but mainly disappointments, not winning a trophy in over 20 years. But I wouldn't want to support any other club, wouldn't want to have it, any other way. Well, obviously, of course, I'd want us to win more, but you know what I mean by I wouldn't want to have it any other way with supporting any other club. Like, I love this club. And Tim Howard actually has a book. It's called like The Keeper. It's called The Keeper, Tim Howard. Like, it's a sports memoir, and I got that book and I read it. And, Tim Howard in that book, he also speaks about his, passion and absolute love for Everton. And once it does touch you, nothing will be the same. And it's absolutely true. And it's facts. So, yeah, that's basically the story of how I became an Evertonian and an Everton fan. And again, if you're watching this channel, if you're new to football and if you don't have a team as well, take up the Everton faithful, become an Everton fan. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of disappointment, a lot of heartbreak. I get it. But let me tell you, on our day, when we do actually finally win something or finish high enough in the league or do something incredible, the absolute ecstasy and joy that will come out of you will be like no other you've ever felt or experienced. Trust me on that. Believe me, it's true. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of this video on how I became an Evertonian. If you've enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It only takes a second. Turn on your bell notifications and please spread the word about the JP Football Podcast, especially if you're enjoying these videos. Tell your friends, hey, subscribe, help a fella out, help me out. I really appreciate all the support that comes into this channel. And again, guys, if you want more stories like this or anything football related, just leave it in the comments. I will see it. I see all your comments, so just leave it in the comments below, whether it be Everton related, something football related, anything of the sort. But anyways, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually going to make my next video about Everton right now because something big did happen today. So yeah, check out the next video after you're done with this one. Peace.